Armada Book 5 Chapter 3 The Commune Part 3. Kelly was in front of Anna's house with Rick, Debbie, Lyra, and Jamie. Our teams will be establishing their offices this weekend and we expect that by Monday, I hope, the 20 rooms will be open for business. Kelly said. More than a week ago Kelly bought that building across the street and turned them into offices for live persons duplicating Anna's work. They are not psychic but they have teams that deal with the issues right away and provide solution to the problems. Jamie, Rick, Debbie and Lyra were on hand to get their first look inside the building after the painting and minor renovations were done. Well done Kelly, we really need an annex to Anna's house. I want to tell you that early this week I sent out letters to all paranormal organizations offering our services to them. I expect some response today but nothing arrived. Maybe on Monday we would be receiving some email responses. I think that's a very good idea Mr. Rick, let them come to us with their problems. Debbie said. They went through most of the rooms in the 3 floors, comparing them to the organizational chart, assigned teams and making sure that all the technology and logistical support are in place. The whole building was still full of people working to make the place operational as soon as possible. 4 rooms were already operational and the 4 teams assigned to the room were busy rearranging the tables and chairs. As they were leaving the building they saw 3 men and a woman standing outside beside a black delivery van in the parking slots in front of the building. Hello, I'm Mr. Rick, how are you guys doing? Can we help you with anything? Hi, I'm John Miller, we got a letter from an organization called Phantom Tide in this address. We were on our way to respond to a client who requested for a paranormal investigation of what they believe are some ghosts inside their house so we passed by. I guess you are not yet open for operation. Here is my business card. We're Phantom Tide. Yes we are that group, and no we have been operating before. We would start operations in this building on Monday. Debbie said and introduced Jamie, Kelly and Lyra while John introduced his team members. This is my wife Selena, my associates, Peter Song and Rudy Heron. He handed out 4 cards to Rick who in turn gave them to the 4 women. Kelly looked at the card, you're from Portland. You're quite far from home. This client used to live in Portland and she knows our group. John explained. Would you like to join us with this investigation so we would get to know your capabilities and you would know our requirements? Selena asked. So you have good mediums with you? Peter asked. Right now we have more than 30 people who can see and talk to ghosts. Lyra said. That's a lot of mediums. Are you sure they are real? It's very unlikely to have more than 30 real mediums working in one place. We have not even found one real medium who can see and talk to ghosts. Selena said. Beside us, there's Anna and Arlene across the street in that house. Have you heard about them? Kelly asked. No, we are not really from here. John said. Where is your client? Debbie asked. Mrs. Kudlow lives in Pasadena, in an old house. Here's the address, maybe you know the area. John said. Debbie told Tony to beam 2 Max to the place and look for the ghosts. Let me join you. Rick said and John looked at Debbie and Kelly. I have to run and do something. Debbie said. Same here, I have to talk to some people. Kelly said. I can't go now. I'm really very busy. Lyra said. I have an appointment in 30 minutes, I have to go now. Jamie said. There are 2 ghosts in the house, very angry at the new owners. They think the new owners were disrespectful and very unkind. Do you want to beam the ghosts to the commune or to the ship? The Max brought ice cream for them and they have established a good rapport with the 2 ghosts. Tony reported. No, tell them Rick will be going there and they better prepare to leave. Debbie said. Mr. Rick, our van is full of equipment, so you may have to drive there yourself. John said. Okay, I'll see you there. Rick told John. John's group drove off. Their van is a regular delivery long van with some seats inside and had a smooth black color. Rick arrived at the place a few minutes before John arrived. Debbie and Lyra were already in the house, crimson invisible, trying to placate the 2 ghosts. When Rick arrived Debbie told him what she found out. I found out that the 2 ghosts were Jewish immigrants in the 1970s, husband and wife. The husband's name is Joseph Bergman and his wife Teresa. They actually died in the house across the street 56 years ago because of a burglary. Now they go back and forth among the 2 houses. A week ago, the current owner, Mrs. Kudlow used a Catholic priest to do an exorcism and this was what made them angry. They were planning a major show to scare the people in the house but I told them not to do anything and wait for some paranormal investigators so they can have a better show. I was just curious what happens in paranormal investigations. I could have just beamed them away but I shrugged the idea off thinking we might learn something. Debbie continued. Debbie recommended that they wait and see what John would do in this case. Rick told Debbie and the ghosts that he would like to put on a show with the ghost for John's benefit. Joseph agreed and even told them that the best would be to tell them to move the cabinets and the doors or the light or the chairs and tables. When John and his group arrived, they went into the house and John introduced themselves to Mrs. Kudlow. "Okay, Mr. Reek, show us where the ghosts are and what are they saying?" Selina said. "First of all, the ghosts have names. They are Mr. Joseph Bergman and his wife Teresa. Pretty lady with auburn hair and a nice smile. Joseph is a little plump, fat according to Teresa. They lived across the street and they died because of a burglary that turned ugly 56 years ago. A week ago Mrs. Kudlow performed a Catholic exorcism and this offended them. They have 3 kids all living in New York. One is a retired banker, another is a businesswoman involved in the textile industry and pretty successful. The youngest is a retired police officer." Reek started. Joseph and Teresa asked, "How did Mr. Reek know about our kids, Debbie?" "We investigated and we do this very fast. As soon as you told me your names we ran a check already. Would you like to see your children, Mr. Bergman?" "More than anything. I just don't know where they are. Tell Mr. Reek to go on with the show so we can leave and see our kids." Debbie told Mr. Reek. "They're not really kids anymore, they're older now, you know, retired people." Reek did not want to detain them more than he should. Reek shouted, "Okay Joseph, can you turn the lights on and off please?" The lights turned on and off. "Can you move the cabinet doors please?" The doors of some of the cabinets opened slowly. "Can you move the kitchen door please?" The door swung open. John spoke out loud, "Can you close all the cabinet doors this time?" He saw the cabinet doors close. "How about moving that chair over there?" John said. The chair was knocked off to its side. "Can we leave now, Debbie?" Joseph asked. Reek told them to go ahead and Debbie beamed to the commune with the couple. Reek walked around and pretending to follow the ghosts, "Please leave the house and never come back." Joseph said, "Sure, they will leave and never come back." "That's amazing." John said. "And that's it? The ghosts are gone?" Selina asked. "Well, I asked them nicely. I think they have somewhere else to go also." Peter Song approached them with a tablet and showed that Joseph and Teresa Bergman were murdered 56 years ago in their house across the street. "This is a picture of the couple. The murder was never solved. They have 3 kids. I told you that." Reek said, looking at John. "So you talked to the ghosts and you were able to see them. We still have to make sure that what happened was indeed paranormal and not something else. We'll set up our equipment and see what's in the house." "Sure, but I have to go. If you need anything else, just call us. You made it look so simple. You walk in, tell us about the ghosts, made some things move around, asked the ghosts to leave and then you leave." Selina said. John also told the ghosts to move things around and they did. The moving around was for your benefit, not mine. There are a lot of ghosts out there that needs our help. I have to go and help them. It's funny you are focused on the ghosts and not the real people being haunted. Yes, the ghosts need help. And if our group doesn't do it, who will? Investigations will not help them move on to the next life. They will put on a show for you guys, but in the end they are still stuck here as ghosts. Our job is to see why they remain as ghosts and resolve their issues so they can have peace and move on. You look at ghosts as if they are real people. John said. They are, just invisible and work with a different set of rules. They have their own belief systems, quirks, defects and characters, like regular people. I have to go now. Please. Reek shook their hands and left. The next day, John and Selina were at Anna's house. They did not register but asked the receptionist, who is a Mac named Farisa assigned to Anna, if they can meet with Reek. The Mac called them telepathically and Reek, Debbie and Arlene appeared in the kitchen. They walked into the living room and found John and Selina. Hi John, how may we help you today? Wait, let's talk in the kitchen. Reek said, gesturing towards the kitchen. Yesterday, we did not find anything, so I guess the ghosts were not there anymore. We do not know if you actually did what you said you did, and we have not even established if in fact our client did get contacted by the paranormal. Although I must admit we were amazed that you knew that she performed an exorcism using a Catholic priest a week earlier. John said. Ghosts have names, they are like us, real people with real lives and issues. I think paranormal connotes they are not normal. But they are. They are as normal as you and me. And they need help. Debbie said. But we cannot see them. Selina said. All of us can. A good priest told me that invisible beings can be seen with some equipment or process, the same way as we use microscopes to see what we cannot see with our naked eye. But seeing is just the beginning. Then you have to address their issues. You must understand and know how to address and solve these issues so you can help them. It really is a long process, and there are thousands of ghosts in the immediate area alone. Reek explained. Not that we do not believe you. We are foremost investigators, it is our job to investigate, to gather facts. You don't mind if we set our equipment up so we can see? John asked. Inside this house we have several ghosts, outside this house we have hundreds, in the building across the street, there are hundreds. You can set your equipment up and see for yourself. Arlene said. John and Selena moved outside to set the equipment up. Reek and his group followed. John, don't you have any ghost problem that need resolution? When I sent the invitation out, our intention was to help you with your ghost problems. But now you are investigating us and we do not have a ghost problem. Reek said. But Mr. Reek, Arlene said you have ghosts here. Selena said. Yes, but they are not the problem. You have just to really understand that ghosts are people also with feelings, dreams, hurts and joys. The only problem we see is the ghosts need to move on and we need to help them. Point us to a ghost problem and we will solve it for you. Debbie said. Right now we don't have any. John said. Just then a van and an SUV pulled in front of the building across the street. The people in the van and SUV saw John and Reek's group. They saw John was setting up his equipment with his people. The people in the SUV got out and they all crossed the street to talk to John and Reek. Hi, I'm looking for the group called Phantom Tide. One of the women asked. John pointed to Reek. Hi, I'm Dr. Reek, this is Debbie and Arlene. Reek extended his hand as he walked near the group. My name is Missy Levine from the San Diego Paranormal Club. This is Eva, my daughter, this is our lead investigator, Sam Davis, no relation to Sammy Davis Jr., this is Bert, our tech man, Janice, his assistant, and Joel, assistant investigator in training. Reek introduced John and Selena. Selena continued to introduce her friends. They all shook hands. We can talk in one of the offices across the street. John, will you please excuse us? If you need anything call my cell, or come over to us, we will be just in one of the rooms there. Reek said. They all walked back to the building across the street. Reek led them to the most ready office. Debbie and Arlene got busy getting some chairs into the office. Tony, make sure Kelly orders at least one long sofa for each of the rooms. Debbie told Tony telepathically. Arlene nodded. As you can see we are still fixing our place. Please have a seat. How may we help you? Reek asked. I was wondering how we can help you. Missy said. You can see and talk to ghosts too? Arlene asked looking at Missy. Yes, I can sense them. How many ghosts did you see or felt from the time you got out until you sat down? Debbie asked. None, there are no ghosts especially at this time of the day. Missy said. So your club investigates ghosts? What does your club do? Reek asked Missy. We take on the investigation of the paranormal as a hobby. We have hundreds of members going around and looking for ghosts and paranormal activities. When one of our members sees something we go in and investigate. I think we are wasting our time with these nutcase phonies. Debbie told Reek and Arlene telepathically. I agree. Arlene said. Reek remained calm and continued, okay, do you have something that is extraordinarily paranormal, several ghosts problems or very angry ghosts or something? We do have one and this was why we came over to Los Angeles. Missy said. Do you have an address? Reek asked. Sure, here. Missy said and showed him a piece of paper with a name and address. Mickey and Jason have left for that address. Tony told them. What do you expect to find there? Debbie asked Missy. We hope we can detect some ghosts and talk to them. Do you know who the ghosts are? Arlene asked. Of course not, they're ghosts. Eva said. But we hope our equipment will carry the day. Davis said. Tony reported, there are 4 ghosts, 2 male, 1 female and 1 boy. The 2 males were both Marines and the female was a nurse. The boy was a crime victim. They are interviewing them now. Captain Santos has been notified and one of his ghost operatives has beamed in to help in the interview. Yes, Reek, the operatives brought ice cream and orange juice. So what does Phantom Tide do? Missy asked. Reek explained their mission and capabilities. Let me get this straight. You help ghosts move on to the next life? Missy asked. Some harder than others. Some we have no idea how so they hang around and help with the chores. Reek said. So you all can see and talk to ghosts? And you have dozens of mediums? Eva asked. Hundreds in fact. Arlene said. So you also do not see ghosts around here? Missy had to ask. Arlene looked at her. There are hundreds in this building and hundreds across the street around our house. This building is packed with ghosts, in the hallways, at the parking lot, in the rooms, in the restrooms, but not in this room. They are not allowed to get into the meeting rooms unless invited in. Reek continued, 3 of our operatives have gone and have talked with the ghosts in the address you showed me and they found 4 ghosts. 2 of them, male, Marines, died during the Second World War. A nurse owned the house and a boy who was murdered 3 houses down the street. The boy's name is Bunny Jones, the nurse is Kathy Forster, the dead Marines are Captain Leonard Greaves and Lieutenant Carrie Martell. They are now leaving the place as we speak. Do you have another case for us? Debbie asked. Missy looked at Eva. So you are telling me you have just made contact with the ghosts and they agreed to leave with your operatives? Missy asked. The three were quiet. Reek nodded. Those are our ghosts. You should be more appropriate in your plans to intrude into our work if in fact what you said is true. Missy said. You do not own ghosts like you do not own people. Ghosts cannot belong to anybody except to our maker. Ghosts are real people like us. They can think and decide for themselves. Arlene said. Anyway, we will still proceed with our investigation. I really cannot believe what you said you did. Missy said. John knocked and appeared by the door. Reek, our instruments do not show any ghosts around the house and around this building. You said there are hundreds around and we cannot find even one of them. John said. Tough luck, I guess. Reek said. I will call you if we have another case for you. We are pulling out now. See you guys later. John said and left. Maybe his equipment is old and low quality. Arlene said. I have this new sensor with me all the time and I did not sense any ghosts around this building. Davis said. I think what we would like you to understand is that ghosts are people too. They have feelings, they can get hurt, they get happy and they have a sense of purpose. And they all do not want to be ghosts. They all want to go into the light. And our job is to make sure they do. If you start believing this, then you can start to understand them. Reek said. That's a nice way of putting things. But you have to be able to see and talk to them first. Eva said. Yes. Arlene agreed. I think we are done here. I will call you if I need your services, Mr. Reek. Missy said. They all shook hands and left the room. Debbie was more vocal. I cannot believe this can be happening to us. Reek just smiled. Reek and the girls were about to cross the street to go to Anna's house when an expensive brand car pulled over into the driveway and into the large parking lot besides the building. There was a young couple in the car. Reek and his group stood there and waited. The couple got out of the car and seemed extremely close to each other. They kissed and held hands as they walked. Hi there, how are you doing? Reek said in a loud voice as the couple left their car. Hi, we're looking for the Phantom Tide Company. My name is Alex and this is Jeannie. We are graduate students from UC Irvine and we were wondering if maybe you can help us with something. Reek introduced Arlene and Debbie. He waved them into the office. He felt it was more professional that way. At the office, how may we help you? Reek asked. It may look funny but we are investigating paranormal investigators investigating paranormal activities. Alex said. Why? Debbie asked. For our study on the technology and investigating equipment used by paranormal investigators. Then we look at their techniques and methodologies. Jeannie said. I can tell you right off the bat. They do not work. 2 paranormal clubs just left a few minutes before you pulled over and after they used their equipment around here they found nothing. So we know they do not work. Arlene said. Can you tell us what does your Phantom Tide do? Alex asked. It was Debbie this time who took the task of explaining. So let me get this straight. You all can see and talk to ghosts without the use of any equipment. Then you look at their issues and work your way around so you can send them home, into the other life. Jeannie said. Yes and yes. But sometimes we are not successful. Reek said. I don't think you could be qualified in our study. You do not even use any form of equipment although you have your processes and methods given your objectives. Alex said. I think that after seeing 2 paranormal clubs, I believe that their purposes are more for documenting whether or not there is any paranormal activity. Ours is that we know there is and we act on them as appropriately as we can to help the ghosts. Arlene said. Do you have documentation on how many ghosts you have assisted? And would you be interested in enabling us to study your methods and stories? Jeannie asked. I do not see any purposes in it for our group. Why would we have to let somebody study how we do things? We ourselves study and document how we do things. Our people are trying to learn techniques and develop better techniques to carry our mission. I believe you have nothing to give us and our goals do not intersect. Reek explained. You may find our work useful and others may benefit from our study. Alex countered. If ever we let you see any of our documentation you would have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. In this case none of our documentation and information leaves our offices. Then it defeats your scholarly purposes. Debbie said. Have you had any experience with ghosts, like some of your dead relatives appearing in your dreams? Or that you sense them around you? Arlene asked. Jeannie looked at Arlene. Funny that you should ask. The reason why we started this study was because I felt my father around me and sometimes he appears in dreams, exactly how you said it. We wanted to hire a paranormal team to help us and realize we can do a study on them. Your dad is probably hanging around your house. Would you like me to talk to your dad? Debbie asked. I don't think you can actually see and talk to ghosts. You need some sort of equipment to sense them at least. We are scientists, we need observable proof and documentation, then we interpret them according to the facts and historical evidence. Jeannie said. Can you tell me where you live, Jeannie? Reek asked nonchalantly. Jeannie felt challenged and gave her address. When did your father die, Jeannie? Arlene asked. 4 months ago. Tony reported in the implants. We have her dad. His name is Ricardo Baptist. He is at home sitting on the sofa reading. He died 25 days ago. Jason asked him why he is still a ghost, and he told him because Jeannie should not marry the guy Alex because he is married to a woman named Amelia who lives in Boston with 2 kids. Arlene and Debbie looked at each other. I don't know how to tell you this, Ms. Baptist. Alex, can we talk to Ms. Baptist alone, please? Reek asked. Debbie stood and opened the door for him. How did you know my last name? Alex, it's okay. You can go out. I will call you. At first he objected, but Jeannie insisted. Alex left the room and Debbie locked the door behind him. Reek told Jason to bring her father to the office. Arlene started. Your father died 25 days ago and he wants to tell you something very important about Alex and Amelia. Mr. Baptist, please tell Jeannie what you want to tell her. Arlene gestured her to turn around. Jeannie saw her father. Dad, is that you? Hello, sweetest, come here. Jeannie stood and her father held her hand and embraced her. She embraced back and cried. Her father kissed her on the forehead like he always does, and I found out that Alex is married to a woman named Amelia in Boston 6 years ago. They have 2 kids. I wanted to tell you this, but I was killed in a drive-by shooting incident on my way to your place and I was not able to tell you this. Tony put Alex to sleep immediately and have a Mac read his mind. Look for anything to connect the drive-by shooting to him. Reek said. Mr. Baptist, do you think Alex had a hand in the shooting? Arlene asked. I don't know. It seemed like a random incident. How can a random incident in a tight neighborhood leave only one person killed, you? Reek asked. Tony came back and said, the Mac said Alex ordered the hit. The killer was one of 2 brothers living in the apartment across the street. Jason is on to the 2 brothers with 2 Mac mind readers. You were shot by one of 2 brothers who lives in the apartment across the street from your daughter's place. When you came to visit, Alex thought you would spill the beans so he had them shoot you. Why would he be willing to kill just to marry your daughter? Jeannie, you know who these brothers are. Reek said. Jeannie was shocked and could not answer. Mr. Reek, it could be money. I left more than $10 million in insurance money to Jeannie on top of the business interests I owned and are now hers, which is valued I think easily at $50 million. Daddy, how did you know his name? Jason told me. Who's Jason? He's a ghost. That's not important, sweetest. The point is that I could not move on because you would be marrying the guy and I don't know how to tell you until now. I intended to make his life miserable with the help of some ghosts if you married him. We have those ghosts already at the commune, Mr. Reek. Tony reported. Mr. Baptist, in these sort of cases where crime is involved we usually refer the case to the police so they can apprehend the criminals and render justice for you. Alex and the brothers are now suspects and they would have to answer the investigators shortly. Alex will be arrested in a few minutes. Reek said. Captain Santos will be here in less than 2 minutes. Alex is still asleep in the hallway. Tony said. Jeannie, you cannot marry this guy. You have to promise me this and that you will have him prosecuted and put to jail for his crime. And you must take good care of yourself. You are all the world to me, please do this for me. Yes, Daddy, I promise. I miss you so much. She embraced her dad tight and kissed his shoulder. It's okay now. I believe it's my time to move on. I love you very much and please take care of yourself and next time don't date a good-looking guy. Look for character and strength, not pretty boys like Alex. Thank you, Mr. Reek, Debbie, Arlene. I wish you will have all the success in the world in this work you do for us ghosts. He kissed his daughter and Jeannie kissed him on both cheeks. Mr. Baptist stepped back 3 steps, then he was gone. Jeannie looked at Reek, then at Debbie, then Arlene. That is what we do, Jeannie. Reek said. Debbie went to unlock the door and the blue haze was gone. Jeannie was quiet. Then Captain Santos walked in. Reek, my boys will take the kid to the station. Some officers will start questioning the 2 brothers shortly. They also found the gun in the apartment of the 2 brothers. I will see you later. Reek introduced Max to Jeannie. I am really sorry for your loss, Ms. Baptist. But I am happy that your dad was able to settle things here and move on to a better place. Jeannie was still quiet. In a few minutes, Reek and his group just turned her world upside down. She straightened herself somewhat then. Thank you, Mr. Reek, Debbie, Arlene, Captain Santos. Your work, the way you do things, is unbelievable. You were right, ghosts are like people and they should move on. Captain Santos, can you look for the car keys from Alex? A few weeks later at a conference room at Andy's place right after 6 p.m. Earlier, Andrew, Ellie, Linda, Eric and Roger beamed in and sat on one table with Andy. Then Reek, Jamie, Dee Dee, Kelly, Debbie, Lyra and Jessie, Anna and Arlene, Captain Santos, Rico and Father Greg beamed in and were seated in two other tables. Riker, Jason and 16 leaders were in another table. Andy has prepared the food in one long table at the far end of the room. There was a crimson invisible table with the food for the ghosts at one corner. Let's get our food first so we can talk with full bellies, Reek announced. They all formed a line and got their favorites. Then they sat down and started eating. Reek started, okay, this is our first monthly meeting. Lyra please. Lyra stood and Tony appeared. Let me show you some figures. A large hologram appeared and floated beside her. In the first month that we started with our operations, Phantom Tide was able to register 24,890 ghosts. Look at this pie chart. Out of this figure we were able to help 12,409 ghosts to move on to the next life. Father Greg's group, which is now multi-denominational, was able to send 68% of this number, or 8,435 since they started. The Annex, excluding Father Greg's teams who were working in 7 rooms, in less than 2 weeks was able to send 21% or 2,608 ghosts, while people working in the Commune and the ship were able to send the remaining off. So congratulations to Father Greg and his team. The crowd clapped their hands. Lyra sat down and looked at Jason. Our ghost operatives or staff has gone from 0 to more than 8,000 dispersed in various locations. Out of the original number, more than 1,200 ghosts moved on, and we were lucky we have a large pool of talents. My group of team leaders are the most psychologically impaired lot, so we have not moved on. Jason explained and they all laughed. Jason continued, our operatives are now highly trained and react very quickly with their teams, which always include a Mac, at least 2 live persons and sometimes humans from other planets on training. We have learned to preempt the situation and take action very fast and in a coordinated way. This number shows the number of off-world operatives we have sent to the Armada. At 820, it looks large, but the demand for their services has actually increased. This number here shows how many have moved on after a few sorties, and as you can see, it's a lot, maybe 30%. The Norsets and Inkeys prefer that they deploy the ghosts first in the DGs before any teams go through. Riker's teams proved their worth and their best performance as first deployment field operatives. He looked at Riker. Riker stood and, I am here to complain. Everybody laughed. Seriously, all these groups are demanding their own phantom teams. When the Armada realized our usefulness and the reduction of risks among their teams, our numbers became really small relative to the demand. Of course General Man helped by deploying almost all the other ghosts to the Norsets and Inkeys, leaving nothing, no additional teams for us. Thank you for that, General Man. Andrew nodded and said, you're always welcome, Riker. More laughs. Riker continues, I would want and have requested that we have more operatives net of those that move on among our teams, not only in DG operations but in other field operations. Sometimes I wonder why our original teams have not moved on. Maybe there is something wrong with our heads. He sat down. Rico stood and, I am also here to complain, but not because of deployment numbers. This hologram here shows the apprehended criminals in cities across the United States. But these numbers do not show the gravity of the crime. For example, one man killed 6 women and here he is counted as one. I would like to encourage you to read the group reports on successful apprehension. But offhand the numbers look good and the press is taking notice, and Don's job turned from promotion to fire control. The police are taking notice of our group because we solve cases so quickly. We have to exert a certain degree of self-control to not blow our cover. My complaint is that we are becoming too famous, like celebrities, for our own good. Captain Santos, please. Max stood, thank you Detective Rico. Rico is right, the cases we solved are getting too much cover in spite of our efforts to tone them down. I myself have become a celebrity and people have started to come to me and my team for help. But I am used to being a celebrity, so I am not complaining. On the other hand, some people have contacted the FBI to investigate me and how my people investigate things. But as you know, we have a presidential directive and the FBI helped in covering up and toning down the flames. This is becoming a security issue and we are taking action to avoid with the help of the FBI, which has become our default source of information. Maksut. Kelly stood, these figures show the countries that have started their own version of Phantom Tide. All of them adopted the same name, translated of course to the local language. Our teams have gone out and helped set them up, although I find it hard to believe that it was harder to set them up here than the ones we did at Sonia's planet. We expect them to grow very fast and be successful. Father Greg walked beside Kelly and people laughed at the sneaky way he walked. Okay, Father Greg, you can take over. People clapped their hands. Okay, I know our group is the best performers and I am happy with the work we have done. As you know, our group is now multi-denominational and it serves our purpose well because some of the ghosts who are say Catholic are helped by my Jewish friends and vice versa. It's really a joint and team effort and we are lucky to have a very cohesive team. Our group is now 90 strong and we are all over the US. Our group also has more than 24 psychologist oldies working for us and they are really good at getting to the bottom of the ghost issues in a lot of cases. Some ghosts are really hard to read and in these cases we assign them to the Norsets and Inkies. Let them deal with their problems. More laughs. Reek stood. Okay, I know you are almost done eating. First of all, this is our first month and the numbers look good. We never actually realized we would be doing this much work and delivering that much number of ghosts to the promised land. And we only have just begun. I want to tell you guys that we need to reorganize a bit. Kelly is our new CEO in charge of expansion. I would be the COO in charge of operations and the field operatives. We will be bringing on board 4 dozen old-timers who will do the backroom work, accounting, billing, documentation of our services and so on. Dr. Lane would be in charge of the medical staff. Most would be under Armada payroll. Some would be under CIA and FBI payroll and a small portion would be paid by the military. He took a drink of water. Reek continued, we have also started charging our clients although at a third of Anna's rates so they are pretty much affordable but put Anna out of business. Anna and Arlene preferred to be field operatives so that's where they are including the operations in their house where the volume has gone down, but only slightly. Hopefully in a few months the organization would be self-supporting and even make a profit when it sends out ghosts operatives off-world. My concern is that we are expanding too fast and we may lose some control in the field added to the security issue pointed out earlier. But so far our people including the ghosts have kept mum and really kept our operation secret so we're still good. Before the end of the meeting Andrew congratulated Reek and his group and said they have the support of the Armada. I know you will succeed and will be able to contribute more ghost operatives to our Armada. But I will be happy to see your group become self-sufficient. Okay Ellie, you have been raising your hand for a while. You have the floor. Andrew said. Ellie run to the middle of the front of the room. Reek, I have only one request. I would like you to scout for ghost scientists. Call me if you have a group for us to talk to. I think we may have some at the commune. I will have them go to you.